It's May 21st, 2017, continuing backtesting the second version of the TradeAllBars Expert Advisor. Hopefully this one will return profit. If not, it will go to the trash. Hello fellow traders. In the last episode we backtested our TradeAllBars mql4 Expert Advisor, which we had coded in previous episodes, and identified two solutions profitable both in March and in April. What we now have to do is select yet another month and see if those parameters hold and generate profits again. If they both do, we will have a valid method of optimizing our EA. Backtest it on month -2, then on month -1 with the same parameters set. Then choose the configurations which were profitable in both months -1 and -2 and see if all of the chosen combinations remain profitable in month 0. If it is true, then we optimize parameters for month -1 and month 0 and trade them in month +1, that is the future. Naturally, it does not have to be months. You can select any period you like, although I would advise for EA to have a chance of making at least 100 trades in your selected period, unless the strategy is very passive, for example buy and hold for a longer period of time. It also depends on how long you are willing the EA to run without interference before you verify the results. I have selected 1 month because of several reasons. Most prosaic is that I am being paid monthly, so if I were to fund my account with extra capital, I could do it once a month at most. Most importantly, however, I think looking at the EA losing money for 20 working days is about as much as I could handle before I threw the whole setup, probably along with the laptop, out the window. So I need to know that by the end of the month it's going to bring me money. Another important thing is that 3 months of backtesting may not be enough. The true principle behind it is we backtest as long as the number of winning parameters drop with every period tested, because that means we could be wrong, using 2 or 3 or whatever number you choose, previously profitable periods as a basis for optimization. It really depends on how reassured you want to be, or to put it otherwise, how much risk you are willing to take that the parameters you have selected will not turn in profits. For me, an absolute minimum would be 2 months. So all that being said, let's have a look if either of the two results were positive in period -3, which at this point would be February. We'll also test the first 2 weeks of month 0, which is May, because that's the current date. So let's test the two profitable configurations we identified, this one and this one. So it's 18-60-40 and 22-60-40 respectively. Let's then do it for the month of February 1st. We have the pound yen loaded. We have our Expert Advisor stop loss version loaded, and now let's go back to February 1st until February 28th, and we'll test it for a 15-minute time frame. Expert property 18, 60 and 40, which is our first option. Let's start. Report minus 165. So these settings brought a loss, quite a significant one in February. Let's now have a look at May. May the 1st. Today is 22nd of May, so we can afford to test until the 19th of May. That's 2 whole weeks. And we can already see that the trades are choked. So we're at 100 trades, and that's practically a disqualifying sign. Minus 237. Minus 237. So again, a significant loss. So the first combination is out. Now the last combination, 22, 60, 40, which is quite similar. So 22, 60, 40, and let's test it first for May, not to change all the parameters unnecessarily. And the report, minus 76.38. With, yeah, okay, so the equity is down all the time. It had a potential for some nice gains here, but then it went back. So this one doesn't work in May. Let's see if it did work in February, because this is our meaningful test. May has not yet finished, so it is allowed that the expert advisor brings loss mid-month as long as it brings profit at the end of the month. So now on February, the same parameter set, 22, 60, 40. Report minus 264. So again, a significant loss. It practically wiped the account. Unfortunately, none of the configurations would bring profit in either February or the first 2 weeks of May, which is the current date for this expert advisor version. So put the money back into your kid's saving piggy, but keep calm and keep searching, because the TradeAllBars is not yet dead. It's got one last ace up its sleeve, the Heiken Ashi. The strategy we are testing is an actual one, not just an exercise in creating expert advisors. However, to determine when to enter and exit the market, instead of raw price action, it uses an indicator, the Heiken Ashi candles. I will not explain here how the Heiken Ashi candles are formed, but there are two things that are important to consider. It is, as most indicators, lagging behind price action, although not much. Also, it smoothens the jagged course of a price move, making it more difficult for a candle to change from up to down and the other way around, therefore making it much easier to identify and stay in a trend trade. Let's take our last version of the TradeAllBars Expert Advisor and modify it to look at Heiken Ashi candles instead of the regular ones. So let's create new file, Expert Advisor again, TradeAllBars Heiken Ashi, and finish. Again, we're going to copy all the code from our previous indicator. I'm going to modify it a bit. So the first thing is we're not going to be using these values anymore, nor are we going to be needing this take profit and stop loss kind of a thing. Secondly, in the onTick function, we need to declare two new variables, Heiken Ashi open and Heiken Ashi close variables of type double. Double, Heiken Ashi open and Heiken Ashi close. Right. Inside the main for loop, we then give the value of Heiken Ashi open by using the iCustom function, which lets us get the value of any indicator that is available within our MetaTrader 4. Luckily, Heiken Ashi is one of the default indicators available in the custom section. So Heiken Ashi open equals to iCustom symbol, so current symbol. Time frame will be period current, and string name, so the name of the indicator is Heiken Ashi. Now custom indicator means that we need the indicators in here. So Heiken Ashi is in here. There it is. Looking at iCustom syntax, we can see that it uses a generic syntax to access any information which is stored inside the given indicator's buffers, which are in turn used to draw the indicators on chart. An indicator can store up to 8 buffers, but Heiken Ashi only stores 4. We will be interested only in 2, the open and the close of each Heiken Ashi candle. Once we have that, we can change the open and close values in our code to HA open and HA close. Unlike with open and close, we do not need to specify which candle we are looking at, because we do that when we populate the value of HA open and HA close with each loop by means of the shift parameter in the iCustom function. So we're going to be needing open and close, right? For open buffer is 2. So going back to our expert advisor, value will be here 2 and I because of the shift, and the shift will be increasing as we go along. That's that. Heiken Ashi close will be very similar. The only difference is Heiken Ashi close will be buffer will be 3, which again we can see in here. This is the close buffer. There it is. Perfect. So let's compile that. Alright, we have everything in here. So now we can modify this. We no longer need close of I rather than HA close, and no parameter, it's already in here. HA open. Same in here. HA close and HA open. Compile, no errors, very good. Now, we're going to modify it a bit, that we're not going to be only looking at 0 value now, but rather bars to trade. So we're going to have equal or smaller than bars to trade. So our minimum amount of candles within a scanned area, which we want to be lower, so down candles really. We are also going to modify the strategy a bit to only allow a limited amount of trades to be placed in one direction at one time, as the traditional Heiken Ashi strategy is that we should look for 2 consecutive candles in one direction to enter a trade in that direction and hold it until 2 consecutive candles in the opposite direction appear, at which point we should reverse our position. To do that, we will call the close order function right after positive verification of our entry condition. So for example, if our order variable has a high enough value, that is higher than the bars to trade minimum within the bars scanned area, we will want to enter a buy trade, in which case we will also want to close the sell trades at the same time. We're going to go close orders. So we want to close all the all the buy trades, right? So we want to engage in sell trades. We will also add an if condition right after that to check whether we should enter a trade or not. This is to prevent the EA from entering more than a predetermined number of trades in one direction. For example, if the end user sets it to 0, only one trade in any direction will be allowed. Now we're going to add if orders total is smaller than max trades, only then will we engage into our order taking. Else if orders are higher or equal to bars to trade, and same thing, we're going to close all the sell orders because we're planning on buying right now. However, we'll only do it if orders total are smaller than max trades, and then we can create a new order. There we go. Let's compile that. We should get some errors. Okay, so bars to trade is of course not yet defined, so we have to define as an external integer, and we're going to set it to 2. So we want to scan 2 bars and both of them have to be up or down. Then we missed a semicolon in here and also in here. And max trades is not defined, of course, because that's also an external integer with the default value of 1. So we only want one trade going on at one given time. That's it. That is now a Heiken Ashi expert advisor with 3 input integers. Good work! The TradeAllBars expert advisor is now modified to use the Heiken Ashi indicator and the strategy which is based on it. Now I will proceed to optimize the expert advisor on Euro-USD pair on data from March and April. This is the first widely acknowledged strategy with which many traders link their hopes for consistent profits and less stressful trading. Let's see if their hopes have any solid footing. Till that time, trade well and prosper.